Thank you for joining us this afternoon. I hope you're doing well. It is Thursday, even though we're going to be learning a Rashi from the sixth Aliyah today. But don't get confused with your calendar. It is still Thursday. The Rashis on the fifth Aliyah are a little bit, there are less of them and less interesting, a little bit more technical. So fast forwarding a little bit to the sixth Aliyah, although all these topics are related in the fifth and sixth Aliyah. In the fifth and sixth Aliyah, we depart from the story of the Meraglim and speak about some of the laws that set into place when we come into the land of Israel, some of the laws like Chala, Nesachim, some of the Korbanos, and of course leading to the mitzvah of Tzitzis at the end of the Parsha as well. I want to talk about the mitzvah of Chala, which comes in actually the beginning of the sixth Aliyah over here. Most of the, I'll just show you, if you go back up here to the beginning, this is towards the beginning of the fifth Aliyah. The whole topic here is Ki Savo El Eretz Moshvosechem. When you come into the land, you are going to inhabit, that you're going to settle. So that's the topic over here, and then it goes in point by point to various things that will set in once we come into the land of Israel. Oh, sorry, that's already in the end of the fourth Aliyah. But certainly going into the fifth Aliyah, which is a short one, and then coming to our pasuk right now. In the beginning of the sixth Aliyah, the Torah introduces us to the concept of Chala. When you come into the land that I'm going to bring you to, when you eat the bread of the land, tarimu sruma lashem. You should give a certain donation to Hashem. That's in addition to all the other donations you give, truma and meiser. There's a special truma donation that is related to lechem haaretz, to the bread of the land. What is that? Reishis arisosechem chala tarimu makis trumaskorin and tarimu osa. You should give this donation of chala to Hashem or to the Kohen as we'll learn. So this is the mitzvah of chala over here. Rashi points out something very interesting, which is the language, the preface to the mitzvah of chala. Most of the mitzvahs which apply in the land of Israel are introduced with the classic phrase, like here in the beginning, Isavo el eretz moshvosechem. These phrases found all over the Torah in various kinds of places. Over here by Chala, there's something different. It doesn't say Kisavo el haaretz, it says Bevoachem el haaretz. And Rashi picks up on this and says there's halachic significance to this, teaching us that there's something unique about the mitzvah of Chala amongst all the other agricultural mitzvahs of the Torah that apply in the land of Israel. Bevoachem el haaretz, when you come into the land, not Kisavo el haaretz, when you will come to the land, but Bevoachem, when you come into the land. Mishuna biazo mikol bios shebatorah. This bia, this coming into the land, is described here in this pasuk of Chala differently than every other coming into the land of the Torah. Shebekula nemar bahen kisavo or kisavo. All the other times it always says when you come singularly or when you come plurally, kisavo, kisavo, always with that ki preface. Whereas here it doesn't say kisavo or kisavo, but bevoachem. In the case of all the other comings into the land, all the other mitzvahs which apply when we come into the land, that are prefaced by kisavo or kisavo, lafikach kulam lamedos zo mizo. They're all learned from one to the other. The halachos that apply in one apply in all of those cases. Kivan sheprat lecha be'echad mehen she'ena ela la'achar yerusha v'yeshiva af kulan kain. For example, in Sefer Dvarim, when we learn about the appointment of a king in Israel, it only applies after Yerusha v'Yeshiva, the 7 years of conquest and the 7 years of settlement. It applies after 14 years of being in the land. So if that's true by that pasuk, which is prefaced by Kisavo, then all the other Kisavos in the Torah also have the same halacha, that they only apply 14 years later after they come into the land. 14 years after they come into the land, after Yerusha v'Yeshiva. And many other details of halacha that are learned from one to the other that can be extrapolated because of the commonality of the phrase kisavo or kisavo. Aval, but this one is different. Here it doesn't say kisavo, and therefore we can't learn all those other halachos onto this halacha of chala. In this case, it's different. Mishenichnesula va'achlu milachma nischayvu b'chala. Over here, the mitzvah applies right away. The very fact that they came in, the very fact that they ate the bread, like the pasuk says, "Ba'achlachem milechem haaretz," that immediately triggers the mitzvah of chala. So unlike the other agricultural mitzvahs may only set in later, the mitzvah of chala is one that sets in right away. I thought this was interesting linguistically, differentiating all the kisavos from bevoachem, but also just interesting in terms of highlighting the importance of the mitzvah of challah, which is really one of great significance. There could be a practical explanation to why it sets in right away as opposed to some of the others. The others are related to full ownership over the land. They're mitzvahs hatluyos ba'aretz. They're mitzvahs which are incumbent upon us because of the land. Whereas here, it's very specific. The pasuk tells us, "Bi'achlechem milechem haaretz." It doesn't say when you use the wheat of the land, the grain of the land. It says when you eat the bread that came from the land. So it's related to the land in some way, but it's more related to the finished product of the bread than it is to the land, which could be why it's triggered right away. That's a practical explanation. But the fact that it's triggered right away might also give us pause to think more broadly about the mitzvah of challah and its significance, both in terms of the land, but also outside the land, and how we apply it today, and that's one of the significant messages which it contains. Thank you so much, everyone, and I hope you have a great day.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone should take challah for this Shabbos, as they are making.
Will do. Yes.
Take care, everyone.